Hey guys, my name is Petersons. I run an agency called Teddia Group. We are premium Webflow partners from Latvia, Riga. Today we came here to London to Webflow Community to have a speech about Webflow as a modern tech stack for website development. Thank you. Hey guys, so I would like to start by saying I'm super grateful to even be here. And as a fellow Webflow global leader, I'm really inspired by this community. I think it is one of the best if I look in the Webflow community page. And yeah, it's a really also nice reason to visit London. And today I will be giving you my take on Webflow as a kind of full modern tech stack for website development. I will share some scenarios with our customers and like some problems we had, some solutions that we kind of explored, and yeah, and just yeah. So about me, yeah, I'm Petersons. I come from a country called Latvia with the capital Riga, and some of you may heard of this. Well, recently we won our first Oscars for the best animated feature, and the movie is called The Flow. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it.
My dog likes that.
Oh yeah, yeah. And don't worry, you don't have to speak Latvian. This movie has no audio apart from sound effects. And yeah, I would like to kind of share a bit of my story first, and then we get to the actual presentation. So I started my kind of software engineer career in 2015. I worked in like a Nordic IT companies, and for 7 years I was learning programming. So I'm coming more from a development background. And then in 2022, I kind of decided to do kind of big shifts in my life and do some more like a freelance. And what kind of ended up, I ended up founding my own software development agency. And then for about 2 years, I was building custom software like for SaaS products, and we worked with startups and stuff like that. And in 2024 was actually the first time I discovered Webflow, thanks to one of our customers who actually needed their website, the landing page for the custom SaaS project we built for them. And to be honest, I was sort of like a no-code skeptic. I did not like these tools because I come from I started with PHP and Notepad++. I learned all the syntax, the file structure, everything. I did not even use any IDEs. And no-code tools kind of felt like boring to me, and I felt like limited. But it came to the point I would kind of pretty much lose the customer unless we try the Webflow build. And obviously, being a small agency, we went with the project and we built our first site in Webflow. And it was kind of amazing for me because I kind of understood that it's actually quite interesting and not boring at all. So I kind of shifted from being skeptic to being actually a believer. And it ended up as us signing for a partnership with Webflow. And we got our certified partnership. And then we kind of started seeing our customers love the outputs and the results of the sites. And we decided to focus much more on Webflow because it was kind of hard, especially in Baltics, to kind of niche down on the industry. So we ended up niching down on the actual platform, being Webflow. And in 2025, we became premium Webflow partners. And this year has started with me joining Webflow Global Leadership Program. And yeah, I'm now traveling a bit around Europe to some different Webflow events, which brings me to the next page where I have some images. And here I am in Berlin last month in Momentum Tour. I've seen some of you also been there here in London. So yeah, I'm here. This was actually a bit of a special moment for me because here's Max from Magyar from Berlin, and also the one and only Guy Yelif, the chief evangelist from Webflow. And yeah, I was it was a special moment to be with them in the same room. I was watching their YouTube videos. I've been watching a lot of guys' webinars on AEO, so it was really fun meeting them. And also here you can see me and my team. We're a small 6-people team. We used to be like 12 last year, but we kind of scaled down with all the AI and everything. And I kind of like this much better because it's like the culture within the company. And yeah. And we all work locally, apart from the guy with the very colorful Lithuanian shirt. He's from Vilnius, so just a neighbor country. But yeah, that was about me. So now I'm going to jump in more into the actual presentation. I don't know why I decided to call this a puzzle. Probably because of my children. We do a lot of Frozen and Disney puzzles at home. But when I look at the kind of Webflow functionality, I kind of like to think about like a puzzle pieces, which is the first one, obviously, the Webflow Designer, which we all use every single day. Love it or hate it, but this is the tool. And now sometimes it also gets a bit slow, and which basically brings me to the next piece, which is the Webflow MCP. And I know it's not kind of there yet with the designer MCP, but data MCP feels kind of decent, and we use it a lot daily in the agency. So this is definitely a crucial piece of the puzzle. The next one is probably my favorite because of the development background. I really, we build a lot of React projects with Next.js and stuff like that. Some Astro projects as well. So hearing the Webflow is going to release code components was a really kind of relief for me, because that's the point I realized that we can kind of push our prior experience into Webflow by building also custom components with custom code solutions. And finally, we have Webflow Cloud, which will be a bigger topic today, because I feel like not too many people have tried it out and maybe don't know the use cases. But we recently find it very helpful in our work with the agency. So yeah, I hopefully at least some of you will learn something and kind of use this more often after my presentation. So I'm going to share 3 examples, 3 different scenarios with actual real-life cases with our customers. Obviously, there is not a single solution that works. So what we did maybe was not the best thing, but it's just examples from our own stuff. So this customer, you can see a snippet of their website. So whenever you click get a quote, you get like a kind of complex form, not too complex, but in terms of what they wanted. So the requirement was that there's a mandatory file upload, because the very first thing they're going to ask for the prospects is some plans, because they're a construction business. They're doing roofs and floors and stuff like that. And yeah, so the requirement was uploading files. Then they have the type of product selection. So they actually have quite big companies. So they wanted their leads to be divided in different departments within the company. So if I sign up for roof construction, my lead goes to one place. If I sign up for floors or walls, it goes to the other place. And also, they wanted to trigger a different webhooks based on these products. Maybe it's not the best setup, but that was their requirement. And the last thing they needed is also a thank you message for all the submissions. Probably some of you already kind of can think about the problems we encountered here. So one of them is that file uploads require a business plan with Webflow. And this was a funny situation because they used WordPress before. And actually, we had 3 calls to kind of convince them to use Webflow. And we went with a CMS plan. And a final thing was this form. And then we kind of realized, OK, it may be a mistake on our side, but like we didn't realize the file upload is actually a business plan feature. So it was kind of not the end of the world, but it was a small problem to kind of tell them that you need a higher plan. Second kind of issue was that you can't really send conditional emails to your team. You can just add multiple emails to get submissions to your mailbox. But yeah, you can't really, based on the values, say which one. You may create multiple forms and then kind of do some custom coding. But yeah, this was from native functionality kind of an issue. Also, we couldn't customize the emails that you get from the submissions. And this was like they showed their previous setup and they had a nice HTML template. And I know it's an internal thing, but like I didn't want them to feel kind of get less with Webflow than what they did before. So that was another problem. And the last problem was there's not like a really native functionality within Webflow to send thank you emails to the receiver, at least that I know of. So there's some possible solutions we explored. One is to tell the customer you need to upgrade to business plan and perhaps change the scope a bit and kind of say, okay, maybe we can do without the thank you email or we can send all of the submissions to one email address within your company. But again, we just kind of didn't want to kind of propose this solution, so we looked to other possible solutions. So it was using, again, business plan and maybe just use Zapier with some webhooks. So the form submission would go to the Zapier instead, and then we can do all the logics and conditions and send the mails and everything. And that would actually satisfy all of the customer requirements, but it would kind of probably introduce new costs for the Zapier. Plus, it's a new tool to manage. They didn't know what it is, so it would be also a bigger handover, teach this thing, and yeah. And the last solution that we actually implemented was to create a fully custom form and just connect it with Webflow Cloud. And in the end, we realized it's going to satisfy all of the customer needs. Plus, everything stays within the Webflow platform and its capabilities, and it would not introduce new costs. Why, I will show in the next slide. There's an asterisk, because if you're using Webflow Cloud to send emails, you probably need some email sender provider. Luckily, they had within their organization the Google Workspace, so we just connected the Google SMTP, which was free for them. So since we went with the Webflow Cloud solution, I decided to put this slide here. Maybe some of you haven't used it, so I'm going to just explain what is the Webflow Cloud. So basically, it allows you to connect your GitHub repository with your Next.js or Astro code base. And it lives within the site settings in Webflow. At the bottom, you have Webflow Cloud, and they even still have the new badge. And yeah, you just connect it, and then it's going to host your kind of custom code. And I think you can host up to 15 projects within the CMS plan in Webflow. So it's divided basically with 3 bigger functionalities. I don't know, I call them pillars. Maybe it's not the right word. But it comes with an object storage, which I really found out 3 months ago, that Webflow has its own database now. This is where basically our, sorry, not database, but file upload storage. So this will be where our customer files from the form will end up. And you can think about this like a blob storage in Azure or like a S3 bucket, S3 in AWS, or in Webflow language, it would be media library. Then the next pillar is the database. So they provide you with SQLlite database. And this is where we saved our leads from the forms. And then obviously you have the hosting. So they host, I think they use Cloudflare. This is where our API is going to be hosted. Now, one of the most interesting things for me was that this solution was a perfect fit because we were using CMS plan. And it turns out all of these functionalities like the database, the storage, and the hosting comes with the same CMS plan. And the limits here is very decent. You get 1 million requests per month and 15 CPU minutes. And for form submission, it's more than enough. So yeah, this is kind of cool because it's included already within your plans. And I think this is almost the biggest benefit of Webflow Cloud. So what
Tom,
we did...
so a quick question, just thinking about other options apart from Webflow Cloud, there's lots of other third-party providers providing essentially the same thing, but you have to pay extra, whereas the advantage here is it's included.
Yeah, one of the things I've realized working with Webflow and on my customers is they specifically chose Webflow because they like what they offer, and they kind of, I have encounter many cases when they really don't want to use other tools, and I have to fight with them like, no, you really need this Vercel. You need it for your backend and everything. So this is essentially just a wrapper of these other tools, but it just stays within the Webflow. And it's not just the hosting. I'm going to show in the next screens that you actually get these interfaces within Webflow site settings, which is what I like the most.
Okay. So cost saving and tighter integration.
Yeah. It's pretty much, and I would say this is the missing piece of the puzzle. If you get code components, you get MCPs, you get designer. So why not also hosting everything with the Webflow and have these other things? And I'm hoping that they're going to release also much more functionality within Webflow Cloud, so it's just going to get better. So what we did, so basically also how Webflow Cloud works, which is another thing which is harder to get done with like Vercel. Yourdomain.com is where your Webflow site lives, and then yourdomain.com/whatever slug we chose in Forms is where your Webflow Cloud instance lives. So it's seamlessly in the same domain, and of course you can use some reverse proxies and stuff, but again, it's additional thing to implement, and this is out of the box. And yeah, this is how it looks when it's added. So you get your environment, you get your environment URLs. Then what we actually did, because we are agency, we kind of think about this in a bigger picture. We don't want to build this one thing for this one customer. We actually build a Webflow-Forms repository, which if there's an interest, we can open source it and you can collaborate. But the idea is that actually we use this more often in Webflow for more advanced forms. We build this route, so Forms v1 setup, which you can define your password in environment variables. Then you can authorize your request and you can start creating forms. Basically, this is meant so you can you can build like a get a quote form. You can specify the fields, the type of the field, is it email, phone, and then in the code you can kind of create your own validations and stuff like that. And
is that a Swagger?
Yeah, this is a Swagger, yeah. So this is a UI to configure everything. So once you configure your form, the next step is you go to the form in Designer, change the submission to Forms v1 submit. And pretty much if you map the field names correctly, it should work right off the bat. And then basically what this API, what we did with this API is first when you get the request, we validate all of the input fields. Then we upload the files to this object storage in Webflow Cloud. So this looks like that. You go to the Webflow Cloud, you go inside your environment, there's like these breadcrumbs. You select the main environment, and then we have object storage, which is called form uploads. And here you actually get all these files from the forms. We found a bug. Webflow says there's a 50 megabyte limit. But they haven't done something because their Cloudflare kind of function says it's 1 megabyte. So we had to do chunk uploads, but it still works. And then the next thing, we insert the lead. After a successful file upload, we insert the lead in the database, which is the SQLlite database within, again, Webflow Cloud UI. So you get the submissions here. It's in JSON, but it's intentional. It's just for us to kind of save the data. And then we also analyze the content. We kind of, okay, now we need to make a decision which email internally, which department we're going to send this lead to, which webhooks we're going to call. And then we send internal emails. And now, as you can see, it looks a bit better than the normal Webflow email. And has the file attached and everything. Then we trigger those webhooks, send also thank you emails to the customers. And one of the things they also requested is just to add, it was very handy for them in WordPress to see all the form submissions. So they want to do the same in Webflow. Since we're using custom forms, it was like, I didn't really want to send him to the storage because it was deep down in the Webflow Cloud. So we actually send manually with API also those submissions to the Webflow-Forms native UI. So they end up also like in the regular form submission, which was kind of neat that you can do it all together.
So the client can easily get to
like the old ways.
Or you could build a separate interface in Webflow Cloud for them.
That might be too custom, but yeah. And what I like to think about Webflow, using Webflow Cloud, it basically kind of opens these opportunities that you can use those other free third-party tools within your custom code and just host them in Webflow, and it will not cost extra to customer and anything. So what we actually also did is we added all the information logs, error logs to Sentry. So if the file upload fails, we get error in Sentry, I get the email, and we can immediately fix the issues. So to recap, basically we fully satisfied our customer requirements. We introduced no additional costs to their monthly bill. We kept everything within Webflow platform. We built also ourselves a reusable Webflow Cloud repository for kind of advanced form handling. And we also, as I said, opened doors for more functionality. And basically, your imagination is kind of the limit. And here's the scenario too. We had this Annuity website. They sell annuities and life policies in US. And this was a kind of, not too complex, but in like if I think about building this in Webflow, it has like multiple steps, some calculations, and it's basically a lead form. And instead of doing all this in a designer with like a custom code element, we again had some problems. So this custom code element or editor is a bit too basic for us, and it even has a line limit. So for this huge wizard, it might kind of get messy and within this limit. We also had to validate the fields, emails with like a zero bounds and phone numbers with RESTful APIs. And if we do it in front end, we would kind of expose the credentials. Then our customer those leads had to be posted to their legacy API system, which actually sometimes also can fail. It's a very, very old system. So they asked us to build some kind of like a fallback mechanism. And the last problem was they also wanted to hide some of the client-side code functionality where you kind of give all your details and then it does some checks on your age and state and everything. So they didn't want to kind of show this in code because they're worried of the competitors. So you cannot really hide this within Webflow Designer only. So what we did, this was an interesting case. Maybe we did, it was maybe a bit of an experiment. We use Webflow MCP and Cloud Code to basically help us to get our style guides in React application. And we actually build it's fully in our custom code solution. Here's just a video example of how it looks like. So the full style guide with all the buttons, inputs, and sliders and everything. And
Sorry, Tom, was that generated, the style guide?
We use MCP just to get like these variables. I know you can actually, I learned from Patrick, you can just kind of link those variables with code components. But yeah, we just use MCP. And we use then Cloud Code to actually just prompt the whole wizard with all the functionality and everything. And it saved tons of time and everything. And now, basically, we also linked all the properties with Webflow Designer. So in the end, we kind of used pretty much everything from this puzzle because we also connected Webflow Cloud API. So our code components was calling our own endpoints from Webflow Cloud. The API was built with Next.js, and basically we kind of stitched this all together, and we ended up with the full cycle, basically. And we also, again, like to think about this, that it gives you more kind of easier way to integrate tools. We added logging and analytics, so we can track all these leads and how they convert and everything. So basically, the recap in this scenario, again, we fully satisfied our customer requirements. We managed to kind of do the validations in server side without exposing the credentials. We did the calculations of the annuities. Can you apply or not in the server side code? And we fully integrated also their legacy system and implemented the fallback mechanism. So how it works, like if their legacy API fails, we save in Webflow Cloud database the lead that failed. We trigger Sentry alert. We have a manual lead submission and all that stuff. So all of these things that I've showed previously kind of comes together. So we boosted lead quality with these verification systems. We also built our customer AI-ready solution. So we actually had a call with him. We showed the code components, how we prompted the wizard and everything. And because everyone is now like super excited about AI, he kind of at least promised me he's going to try and kind of build maybe some of his own forms. Because, you know, it's A/B testing and you try different ways. And maybe you have two fields in the same page or not. And yeah. And again, I'd like to add this, opens the doors for additional functionality. You can even add like an AI to check for spam if you don't like the Webflow's Cloudflare bot protection. And the final scenario is e-commerce sites. We built, this is a branding agency locally in Latvia, and they are selling digital assets. Their requirement was that customers can get invoices, log in, see order history, and basically all the basic functionality of e-commerce site. I know Webflow e-commerce nowadays might not be the best solution, but they had the whole site in Webflow, and they only wanted to add store page and list 20 products, so it totally made sense to use Webflow e-commerce.
We buy all of our products from that.
Oh, really? Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah, they were kind of well known. Yeah, it's. They even did the branding for airport and everything. So, and we had some problems. So Webflow completely decided to remove user account functionality. You couldn't customize outgoing emails, so you can send some emails of the purchase and deliveries or whatever, but it's pretty basic. You can't change too much of the design there. And obviously, you cannot see any order history or download invoices because they don't have users. And yeah, they also, the invoice problem. So what we did, again, we implemented our own user authentication. Obviously, we use Webflow Cloud again with Next.js and their SQL database. So basically, with all these scenarios, hopefully you get the use cases. So custom user authentication. We built also custom email templates. We created invoice history where you can also download the thing. And again, recap, fully satisfied customer requirements. We avoided using any of third-party authentication providers with additional costs, because I looked like a member stack or something. It's pretty expensive if they only get like few orders a month. And we kind of, in some way, managed to extend Webflow's native functionality with these custom code Webflow Cloud solutions. And again, we build ourselves a reusable user authentication system. So we're basically piling up repositories with the useful cloud repositories. So and again, open doors for tons of additional functionality. So they can ask us some new feature for their store, and now we can prompt it in cloud, review it, plan it, and deploy. So yeah, do I see a pattern here? Basically, all of these puzzle pieces connects well together, and it solves issues. Every single recap said we fully satisfy our customer needs. And there's actually 2 bonus pieces because everyone likes bonuses. And I'm sure all of you already know this, but yeah, I had to put here Webflow Analyze and Webflow Optimize because once you have these 6 pieces all in one, all together, I really feel like Webflow is your stack for websites. And not only just building a nice website, but analyzing where is your content coming from, personalizing it or for specific campaigns, and changing and removing blocks and doing A/B testing. And I'm super into this field now with my agency because we do the retainers and everything, and it's really cool to see what we can do to kind of boost the conversion rates and everything. So so if there's anything you learned from my presentation, then I'm happy to hear some messages or stories afterwards that you tried out some of these tools if you haven't already. And but yeah, basically that was it. There's a QR code if you want to follow me on LinkedIn. I don't do too much posts, but there's also a new newsletter that I created this month, so some of you may want to join it. But yeah, that was me, and I hope we have nice talks later.
Yeah, very good. You keep your mic on for now, because we might have a few a few questions, and we've still got 20 minutes before we get kicked out. So I might kick off with a question. The kind of GDPR elephant in the room, the database, the storage, that's all on Webflow's servers in the US, and then there's the data sharing agreement, transatlantic something or other, and that's supposed to cover us. Is that your understanding of it?
I'm not sure about the agreement, but last month when I was in Berlin, I met Webflow team, and we had this discussion because it was in Germany and the data centers and everything, because the larger enterprise customers obviously cares about data. And I got a response that probably in June they kind of going to support also EU data centers. So that's the only thing I know, and I hope it comes, because I have had this question with our customers as well.
That wasn't the outage we had last week, setting up a new data center in Germany. No. Yeah, okay. Well, that's promising.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
And I specifically asked, is this public info? And then she said, yeah. So, yeah, because I was,
More questions? Dan?
Thanks so much for the presentation. Really thorough, and I really like the 3 different use cases. I think there's so many cool things we can do with cloud and all the other bits as well. One of the questions I had, do you ever get any pushback from clients who are maybe interested in Webflow Designer as like a visual first tool where you can drag and drop and do stuff, then feeling like, oh, but this thing is great, but it feels a bit more locked down, like a code component that's harder to edit, or something that's a bit more, back end that is harder for them to understand? Do you ever get that kind of feedback? Or
it's really interesting, because I would expect so. But actually, well, maybe we don't have that much customers, but they love it. They, like, as I said, I showed him, hey, you can prompt this yourself. And he was like, oh, we can. And so, we don't also overdo it. Like, we still try to use mainly Webflow components and everything. But I feel like if you're going to do an autocomplete components where you start typing and you get suggestions, like, no one ever is going to go from customer side, like marketing team, change the functionality of this component. Yeah. So we don't really get that much pushback. Maybe we will have with the Webflow Cloud, because I saw the badge new, but I think that it was badge beta before. So we have a customer where they have a huge traffic, and maybe even I am a bit skeptical of going Webflow Cloud, because just not fully aware how good is the uptimes and everything. So we still use Vercel in some of the cases, but it's not like they push back, like, let's not use the code stuff. It's more like then maybe we stick with the like Vercel or something. But in general, yeah. But I would also expect a bit more like, but they're kind of open to it. Because we'll also share some presentations. We show how we did it with other customers, and they're more interested than actually. And since the results are kind of good, so they're all up for it.
One of the things that we found recently, we were doing a project where the client came to us and said, we want to build this, basically a web app inside of Webflow Designer. And we were like, that's going to be tricky. We would recommend more of a back-end Webflow Cloud approach. Oh, we want to edit it. So we landed on like a middle ground, which is code components inside of a designer page. So at least they can add in their titles and they can do Webflow Analyze. And we kind of landed on that because they have a load of Webflowers in-house. And they were like, oh, well, this is good because it means I can still rearrange the blocks. I can still build the about page, but you guys just handle the logic. So I think it's about finding like a middle ground, right? Yeah. You're right. You don't use it all the time, just when it's needed, I guess. Yeah.
And it's interesting because I created some code components specifically for this lead wizard page, and I want to track these events in Analyze. And I got scared for a moment because I couldn't, when you create a goal in Analyze, I couldn't select the button I made with the code component. But then I kind of figured out that you can kind of create a custom events and just push
custom
them.
Event. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, thank God, because I was like, I built everything and now I can't send events. But thankfully it works out. So
cool. Thank you.
Dan, are you using Webflow Cloud on some projects? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, increasingly so.
Yeah. Nice. Anyone else using Webflow Cloud? Another question.
No, different question.
Yeah, no worries. Go for it.
My question was, you mentioned that you didn't want to introduce the business plan to the customer because it was an additional fee, but it seemed like a lot of additional work on top for your team to create the solution. Why did you decide to go down that approach rather than maybe suggesting to pay for the business plan internally, because that probably would have cost less in terms of dev time?
Yeah, you're right. I don't know, I'm maybe a huge Formosi fan or something, but he always says like trying to do the best with your clients. So if I have to just spend a bit more money or resource, I would rather do that and then have a speech about it than just do it with the business plan.
No, that's fair enough.
But yeah, it's just like, I don't know, with Webflow, it's, as I said, I thought at the start these tools are boring. But then having these kind of weird problems is kind of really interesting for me to find solutions. And I think it's my job to kind of provide them with the best solution. Maybe it's best sometimes to go with the business plan. But yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
Jimmy? Good questions, guys.
Thank you, Tom. So that was super interesting. I just wanted to ask a question from someone who's come not from a coding background, but from like a no-code background. For example, you showed the kind of the like sequence of like the 1, 2, 3, 4, and like in my head, I can imagine how that works with like Zapier or like NAN or something like that.
Yeah.
But could you just like how practically is that actually working? Is it like JavaScript hosted by Webflow that you have to write to like make that sequence happen? Or like how like practically does that actually work? Just so I can kind of like picture it a bit in my head.
Yeah, I think currently Webflow Cloud supports Astro and Next.js frameworks. So we use Next.js, and for us it was just an API endpoint within the Next.js project. And yeah, you would custom code your endpoint, so you build the structure however you like. And well, in your case, I would probably do it in N8N or something, and then just ask Cloud to convert it to Next.js or something.
Oh, so you could still you could make your endpoint N8N, and then that's what you're calling.
Not really. It has to be Next.js or Astro. If you like to create a Next.js project with endpoint that triggers your N8N endpoint, it probably doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
But yeah, well,
It's effectively like a web app, I guess, isn't it? You're building a web app and creating your own APIs from scratch. Right. And I think I don't write this stuff, but the Next.js and Astro are it's like JavaScript.
yeah,
Apps,
it's just a React
but like
framework.
running without a front end. It's just like in the background, you call the API and then JavaScript does some stuff and then it sends back a response, but it's running on the server rather than like in the browser, like regular JavaScript. It's like building an app with JavaScript, basically, I think.
Yeah, and actually, we're talking about backends, but to be honest, Webflow Cloud also you can host actual UIs. Even the Swagger I showed with the forms configuration and everything, that's still somewhat a UI. So you can actually try to build even like, let's say you do a proposal, because you can also share components to your Next.js project, I believe. So you can create your hero and footer and then serve something within your Webflow Cloud Next.js framework.
Nice.
So there's so much to explore. Like I haven't even done it. So
Cool.
yeah, it's really cool.
That's what we do for our sales tools.
Yeah.
We just like take the design system, serve it into a Vercel project with a Next.js front end. It's got the same hero, same nav, same footer, and then just like a middle bit in the middle, which is the tool that we're building. Essentially a code component, but not on Webflow. Do you find it interesting that obviously as a traditional developer, coming into Webflow, being skeptical of no code and finding that actually it's become almost quite full circle where we're understanding that there were no shortcuts, even if no code was a tool. Development is still development, and it's being proven by things like code components and Webflow Cloud and stuff. Yes, we have AI, but it still comes down to basic development practice at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. That's really interesting, and I think these no-code platforms has to follow it and actually give us these opportunities. Otherwise, they will fall behind. So for me, I'm grateful because, as I said, like I learned 7 years development, and I'm just happy because we can put this experience in Webflow. And this is maybe also our like kind of focus when we build websites. We don't build very kind of immersive, award-winning sites, we tend to get projects where you have to build something a bit custom, and yeah, so that's our cup of tea.
Likewise, same.
Yeah.
No awards over here.
Yeah.
So I guess some people here are they're familiar with the designer but haven't done any coding at all. And a lot of this might be a bit scary. Is this something that they can do using Claude Code and some with no development background, build a custom app and work out how to host it in the Webflow Cloud?
Yeah, most definitely. With today's AI tools, like I had a co-founder with one of my side projects, and he's a YouTuber, and he flies drones. And
he's an Aussie.
Sorry?
He's an Aussie too, I hear.
Yes, from Brisbane. And just 2 days ago, we launched a full FPV drone simulator that he just did in cloud in 3 evenings. Of course, it's like a kind of proof of concept, but it flies in your browser. It works with like old laptop, and people did it for years, like developed Sims in Steam, and it was not working on Macs or something. So for you to build a code component or create an API in Next.js, you just need to explain it, and obviously, do some testing. And,
Is anyone here inspired to try it that hasn't tried it yet? Yeah? Yeah. I've got an idea that came up while you were talking, thinking of these huge, the SaaS apocalypse, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, HubSpots and Marketos and so on. That how feasible would it be to build a CRM in Webflow Cloud and have it, your marketer is making decisions like, this client, we've got a good match with a project that we've done. They go into the Webflow Cloud web app, select that client, connect it to a case study, hit a button, and it generates a special landing page in Webflow and sends out the link on socials or wherever, that like a really targeted campaign, and then to AI automate that whole thing as well. Is that feasible?
Probably, I don't know. It's it feels a bit too much maybe for me at this point.
Yeah.
But
which bits do you think are missing in there at the moment? Like can the Webflow Cloud go and create a page using Webflow MCP if it's doing a call to Claude API, for example?
Yeah, probably it's good. And speaking of the pages, it's probably a good way to kind of get behind the page limit in Webflow by using Webflow Cloud. Because we had a customer who wanted we need like a 300 or 500 campaign pages. And I checked Webflow limits, and it's like, it's probably not possible. But then with Webflow Cloud, you could serve these pages probably. But I don't know if I get the question right, but building kind of CRM-like tool in Webflow Cloud is probably where I kind of hit the brakes and step back, and maybe you kind of just build, I don't know, Next.js project with Cloud Code and have your CRM, or as I said, there needs to be some balance there.
Yeah, you could still use Webflow Cloud as a sort of middleware layer in that case, and stick to your big expensive CRM platform and just connect the two up. Interesting. More questions, anyone? From the back? No? Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Toms. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, hang on. Before you sit down, I've got something to present you with. A little prize. Some Webflow swag. And as soon as you've come all the way from Riga and you're setting up, I've got quite a few here. Here's a few more to take back to hand out. How about that? Yeah.